Hey guys, it's me Nyla and welcome back to my channel. So by the title, I'm going to be talking to you guys about my film school application process because I'm in grad school now. It was a long and tedious process. Honestly, I just wanted to come on here and document it. This isn't necessarily like an advice video because it's just me sharing my experience, and if I feel like if you resonate with some part of it that you feel like could apply to you during your process, I hope it helps, but also just take it with a grain of salt. This is what happened to me and how I felt during it, so I just wanted to get into it. So I'm going to be going over a bunch of things. I'm going to be talking about how I researched schools, how I narrowed it down, what the actual process was like getting in materials for the portfolio and things like that, and then everything that happened afterwards, basically like my rejections, my acceptances, where I declared. I'm going to be trying to go into every bit of it today. So if you guys are new to my channel, I did already say in another video where I decided to go to school, but if you're just being introduced to me through this video, I'm Nyla. I am in grad school. I'm 21 years old and I'm in film school, but this whole video is to explain how I even got here, right? Once I finally made the decision with my parents, like, oh, you're going to grad school, you're going to film school, that's when I finally got into the researching of that. Of course, I already had my dream schools and schools that I could see myself at, but I wanted to make sure that I had other options just in case I didn't get into like the one or two that I applied to. And with grad schools, it's not the same as applying to an undergrad college, like your first time out of high school, because it's like there is no such thing as a safety. You are fighting for your life out here. I had my dream schools, but I also went on the Hollywood Reporter so that I could see what kind of schools are ranked very highly. While looking at that, I had to look at what kind of program they were offering, and the location of course is important because that also goes into the price. So all of those things were really important to me, but most importantly was the programs. So once I chose like around 6 schools, I decided to go more in depth with them. I went to look at their programs and what they offered, how long it was going to be. A lot of schools offered a lot of different things over different courses of time. Like some programs are 3 years, some of them are only a few semesters. Also what they were asking for on the application. Oh my god. So narrowing it down, I chose 6 schools total that I decided, and I put it on a Google Doc. It was basically a spreadsheet. I put all 6 of my schools at the top, and I put all of the relevant and most important information about them down the side. And after researching all of the programs, the questions I really had to ask myself were, where do you want to be at the end of this? And also, will I have seen it as useful and worth the experience? That's why I had to look into each program. I had billions of pages open, tabs everywhere. At that point, I decided on New York University, Loyola Marymount University, University of Southern California, Florida State University, Georgia State University, and University of Georgia, Athens. Those are the 6 schools that I had finally decided I can see myself in these programs thriving, learning the parts of the film industry that I want to learn. On that same document where I put all of my information, I also copied and pasted everything that they would need for their application. All of that was in my Google Doc, everything, because I needed it all to be centralized in one place because it was kind of getting overwhelming to be shuffling through tabs like, oh, USC wants this, NYU wants this, FSU wants this. It was just way too much, and I needed it all to be in one place. So if I do give you some advice in this video, it's to have it all in a centralized place, like a Google Doc or a spreadsheet or something. Another part of working on the applications were getting recommendations. I personally didn't have a lot of experience in the film industry. It's not like I was in high school and I worked on a set, or I was in undergrad and I worked on a prominent set. Like, it was nothing like that. My experience with a camera was YouTube and some other freelance side stuff. That's something that really put a damper on my self-esteem because I was like, oh my god, I'm not good enough. They're gonna think I'm lame. Like, they want people who are more experienced than me. It's nothing like that. When I was getting those recommendations, I was asking anyone who I thought could speak to me as a person and my experiences and my abilities if I've worked with them. So all of the recommenders that I got were amazing. The most heartbreaking part was paying the fees. I had been back and forth with the 6 schools that I chose so much that I just cut one of the schools out. It's not offering me what I really truly want. One of the applications to USC I think was $90, and then an additional $12 to submit your portfolio items. I spent around like $400 applying to these schools. Currently turning in my first application. Ooh. Just submitted the slide room portion. Does anybody have $120? You have to put something in to get something out, so I was like, okay, Just swipe my card. Take it, take it, take it. Another thing about the application process was the personal statements. A lot of the schools, if not all of them, asked for a personal statement about why you want to go into the school, what are you expecting to learn. I did a lot of writing and rewriting and got a lot of people to look over it and read it. It was hard to write, low-key, and hard to get like feedback from everybody, but it ended up being like good because I got into school. It was hard to write. It's hard to write about yourself. I submitted all of my applications in November or December, early December. I was just waiting to hear back. I'm like, okay, it's all gone. I paid for everything. One second. All my applications are gone. I paid for everything. Now it's just time to wait. Around February is when I started hearing from people. First people I heard from were FSU, and they asked me to come in for an interview. And since I was already doing my undergrad at FSU, I just walked to the film school and did my interview with them there. It was very nerve-wracking, like very nerve-wracking. I was there with around 4 other applicants, and we were each being called upstairs for the interview. But while one person was up, the other 4 or 5 of us were just watching films that other students have made, being able to ask questions to current students about what it's like in the program and things of that nature. So when it finally got time to me, I was like, okay, you're prepared, you can do this. Just be honest about yourself. There's no reason going there and lie, like just be for real.
Hi, I had an interview today. I met some cool people and I did some cool stuff like during the group interview part. I'm scared about what went down in the actual interview. When they started asking me about I love you, I loved talking about it. When I said Wendy and Lucy, but then they said why, I liked my answer about Napoli Ever After. I really do wish I had made that movie. Like, I feel like there's something I could have made from that. But yeah, we'll see if I get in. If I don't, I'm gonna be very sad. But if I do, I'm gonna be so happy because that means somewhere wanted me.
So I have a few diary entries during this time, and I'm gonna read some of them. I wrote about how I felt after the interview. Overall, I was pretty nervous throughout the interview, and I think that I didn't clarify a lot of things. Whenever I explain what happened during the interview, they say it sounds like it went well. I won't debate whether it's true or not, but I appreciate them saying it. I really hope that it went well in the eyes of the admissions committee and that they're willing to take a chance on me. I think I could have done better, but in the end, I did what I could. If by any chance this year isn't my year, then I can always try again next time. I'm glad that FSU even called me back at all, and I'm really still appreciative of being in that room with the students, other applicants, and the admissions committee. There's no rejection, only redirection. If you can't beat the fear, just do it scared. So those were just 2 quotes, but yeah, I was shaken up after the interview. Yo. I wanted to come in and explain why I looked so tore up and distraught after my FSU interview, and it was because they were all wearing masks, so whenever I was talking, I couldn't see their facial expressions, so I didn't know if I was like, if I was getting across to them, like if they liked what I was saying, if they didn't like what I was saying. Like, I was just so in the dark about their expressions, and it just left me it just left a terrible taste in my mouth, and I didn't feel great about my interview. So I wanted to preface that because I felt a little better in the interview that you're gonna see next. Yeah. And then a few days later, actually, UGA asked me for an interview, and this was over Zoom. When I got in, I was actually only interviewed by 4 professors, and they were all super nice. They were all like bouncing ideas off of me, and it was fun to talk to them. I just finished my interview with University of Georgia, Athens, and there were 4 people there instead of 8. Oh my god, I don't know what I would have done if there was 8 people. And they were so freaking awesome. Like, the fact that I could see their facial expressions just hyped me up. Oh my god, that 8. Like, I got to tell them everything. I told them about my little black hair idea. I told them that I'm interested in production and cinematography. And then they were just smiling, and the guy was like, have you seen the Good Hair documentary? And I was like, yeah. And then there was another movie called Napoli Ever After that I watched, and I was like, yeah. I know they loved me. I almost started crying. Well, the interviews both were nerve-wracking, but they needed to know who I was beyond the materials that I sent in. I heard back from UGA first, and I got in. I got into University of Georgia, Athens today. I look kind of bad and busted, but I got in. And I'm currently watching videos of like apartments near UGA, just in case this is the school that I go to. So I found a few that are close, but are they in my budget? My budget of $0, I don't know. This is the entry after I was accepted into UGA. The timeline is looking like FSU interview, UGA interview, and then UGA acceptance. So this is what is going on. As of March 2nd, I was accepted into UGA to study for a Master of Fine Arts in Film, Television, and Digital Media. I think that the acceptance email that I received during my documentary class was really underwhelming, but then it started to settle in. In 2 days, this acceptance has settled in many ways and provoked other emotions and thoughts that were inevitable no matter what. Beyond the 50 times rewatching my interview and looking at my application, it's just so hard to believe they wanted me to be one of the 12 people in their program. It sounds too good to be true that I was good enough to get in, despite knowing how well my interview went. LOL, am I giving myself too much credit? Maybe, maybe not. Girl, stand up. Have some self-esteem. So I was going through it. I was really going through it. I heard from FSU second, and I had got in after the interview. I got rejected from NYU, and then I got rejected from USC.
So I did not get into USC, but we kind of already knew that I wasn't getting into USC.
For LMU, I had gotten waitlisted, but then I got in. I had already accepted one of the previous schools because it was coming to a deadline. So I was like, sorry, LMU, like, you had a good program, but you had me on the wait list until after I had to respond to somebody else. So when I got rejected from NYU and USC, it was like, I guess I kind of figured. Then I decided to declare on a school. I just decided that this was the best place for me. Like, I always knew I was gonna be here. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more episodes of the Film School Diaries. It is quite busy here, but I still want to try to document parts of my experience and my journey here, because it would be really fun to just look back and see how I improved. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.